Alright, and here is the video review for X-Transbots KLAATU, or Cosmos, as you can clearly see. Now, one, without my hands or anything in the in the shot, he looks smaller here, looking down at the camera, than he really is. He's actually fairly hefty dude. I mean, there is some die cast. There's a little bit of weight to him, but I mean, like he's bigger than I expected. We can see his little spaceship, little UFO guy, and you can flip open these panels here on his chest, which we'll talk about later. He does not come with the Autobot symbol, obviously, but I put that on there for a very specific reason, which I will show later in the video. But there he is with those Autobot logo flying around like a UFO. Woo! And speaking of flying around, he does come with this clear, round, kind of techno detailed kind of circular base. And there's a couple different ways to use it. What's nice is there's a regular stand like this that slides into the back. And I like that they included a way of storing this if you're not using this component of it. It just snaps right in there and stores underneath the base. So when you're using the other piece, which I'll show off shortly, this just stores under there. But you slide this in to a slot here. It's so bright that it's disappearing. And this little peg pegs in under the UFO mode. And you can have it displayed like that. And there it looks like he's flying. Ooh, magic. Ooh. Anyway. Illusions, Michael. Anyway, so there's that piece. And that one works pretty well. You can just peg that in, and it's all good. He also comes with these two little kind of half cups here, which stack together. You'll notice there's a peg here on this one. Now, earlier pictures showed this with a cow in here, and it didn't come with a cow, and I'm kind of sad about that. I did get this weird little alien tentacle thing, which has a peg hole to sit on this post, although it doesn't want to stay on that post. It likes to pop right off. The peg hole needs to be a little bigger. But you can put them on there, and you take the second half and kind of sandwich them in there and snap this down. Then this piece fits over the circle in the center of the base. And then there's a peg up here that you can peg Cosmos into. Now Cosmos, the straight peg goes in because you can get enough leverage to push that up in there, but this panel has a little bit of play in it, so it's hard to get it to attach here without some sort of opposing force on the back. Now you can open this panel, actually either one of these, but this panel here on the side, and it's empty in there, so you can kind of stick your finger in there and put some support behind that peg hole to get it to stay on. But yeah, you can attach him like that, and then it looks like he's got the little cone of light sucking up whatever. Yeah, like I said, it comes with this tentacle thing. You can get your own cow. You could put him like a micro machine or whatever you want in there. Really can go in and make it look like he's sucking it up through his beam into the spaceship, which is really cool. There you go. Just so you get an idea of how this looks without the white wiping it out. Nope. So, go ahead and take him off. That's the stand. Now let's get to the ship himself. And he's actually got a pretty neat transformation here. You must start off here at the top, open up these top pieces, and pull this whole panel back. Once you've got them back, take this panel up, the top panel, and flip it forward and all the way in and down like that. And then once you've done that, take the two side panels, that'll become his arms here, with the up like this, and then this whole assembly, including a green piece inside here, you can kind of see the tracks in here, slides up like this. This one's a little bit more finicky, but you slide them up like this, And then you bring this around, fold these panels out at this hinge, bring this forward, and then snap this panel in like that, and that will fill in, and then the shoulder piece will fold down and kind of fill in his upper body here. Just like that. Rotate his arms up. Just go ahead and flip them up like this so you've got some room to maneuver down here with all these extra pieces. So untab that piece that we talked about earlier, and that will free up these panels right here. Go ahead and pull them down. This panel comes out. It slides out like this and folds up onto the back of the robot, or what will be the back of the robot. These come down, bring this up, open up these two panels right here, and that will allow his legs to extend up. And you want to make sure they come, because they're kind of angled with these panels to fit collapsed in robot mode. So you're going to make sure to extend those straight and then fold these panels down to fill in the upper thigh. Bring them down like that. These panels rotate down onto the back. Rotate them halfway in. You want it, because if you just fold this down first, it's going to catch right here as you fold it around this piece. So if you leave it up about halfway through, bring it around, and then fold that down and in, and that will wrap around onto the back of the foot. Split his legs. And then on each side, take this panel, it's double hinged here, fold it all the way up and around, and then this piece slides back on this bar and then folds up to fill in the side of the foot with some little piston-y tech detailing here. Hey Moth, how you doing? Okay, don't fly in my mouth, Moth. That's not nice. Why don't you go over there? There you go. No? Okay. So come here. Got a moth flying around in here. The arms, open up this panel on the back to expose the elbows. Fold this side piece in. And once you've done that, you can fold this kind of back up into there. It won't hinder the articulation at all. I just think it looks a little better folded up than sticking straight out back like that, but you can leave it open. There's nothing wrong with it. If that's your personal preference. And then this hinge right here, it's up like this to fit in vehicle mode. Bring that down, and then where this hinge meets is going to tab into this little squarish slot right here on the shoulder. And that gives him a shoulder hinge. He's got the rotational joint there, and then forward and back. We'll get to all the articulation here shortly, because he does have a dual hinge. Does he have a dual hinge there? It looks like that should be hinged there, but I guess maybe it's not. Same thing on this side. Bring that hinge down and up. Open up these panels right here. Flip the hand out. Rotate it around so the hand comes out. He's got smaller versions of these tubes here on the side of his wrist. Flip that back up. Close it back up. And then rotate his hand to face forward. And same over here. And there is his robot mode, with the exception of one major part, his head. Now, I actually scuffed this up a little bit, trying to pull his head up, like every other Cosmos has done. This centerpiece here, and this is my one not insignificant complaint or nitpick about this toy, because a lot of it, most of it's pretty cool. It's a decent transformation, it's fun, and even this part is really cool, except right in here, there's a little button you have to push, and it's really hard to get in there. It uses a lot of force, and unless you've got really teensy strong fingers, like you can see, it's putting divots in the end of my finger trying to get that to pop. You really need some sort of small tool. It comes with a screwdriver, and I'll explain that shortly. This little blue button in here, you push that, and his head, you heard that, very forcibly springs up. And that's a cool gimmick. I like it. I like that head reveal. I always think that's if you can do a cool head reveal on a robot, that's neat. But the effort needed, like, there's still rings on my finger from trying to get in there to push that button. And like I said, you really do want to have some sort of stiff tool to push in there and get that up, because it does require a surprising amount of force to make that happen. And I get that they don't want it to just pop up arbitrarily, but ow. So that's my one real complaint about that, is that you can't really get into that button, and even when you can, it's going to mess up the tip of your finger. But yeah, there he is, and he's cool, and he's got a little, his head is on a ball joint. It's limited because of his bucket head, but he can look up a little bit side to side. He's got the previously mentioned shoulder joints, forward and back, bicep swivel, hinge elbows, which I really do feel, there we go. I don't know why that wasn't working before. If we want to get stuck, but you can bend his arms all the way up like that. He's got a good range of motion there. Yeah, that one just did it. I don't know. Ratcheting hips, at least front to back. They're stiff to the side, but they don't ratchet side to side. These little panels can lift up to get a little bit more range of motion out of them. He does have dual hinge knees, but the size of the heel and the backpack don't give you a whole lot of motion. I mean, like if you bring the thigh forward, you can get a little bit more range of motion out of them. But yeah, he's got ankle tilt, ratcheting ankle tilt, which is nice. And he does have some front to back on the toe as well. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier, before we get to his extra little robot mode accessories, which is just a couple, I said I put this Autobot logo on here for a reason. Because you can see now in robot, like it looked great in vehicle mode, but now here in robot mode, and it is just a repro label that I stuck on and then sliced down the gap. But it looks weird divided like that here in robot mode. These pieces right here, and when I figured this out, I was like, oh, cool. These little pieces come out, flip forward, and then fold back in. So if you do that, or if you just don't like the white in robot mode, it hides the faction logo. So you can just pull this out, rotate it around, fold it back down, and now he's got a clean robot mode without his Autobot logo broken up. Now that does mean he doesn't have an Autobot logo anywhere else on his body, and you can choose to put one here or up here if you wish. I like that placement in vehicle mode, but if you put one elsewhere and put one down here on the white, I think it looks a little silly to have two of them so visible in robot mode, but that's entirely up to you. But I love that faction hiding gimmick. They didn't have to do that, and that's just one of those little extra bits that's like, it's pretty cool. So his one little robot mode actual accessory for his robot mode is he's got a can of alien bug repellent. And it's actually, you can see there's a molded bit in there. And it's actually designed to go in this hand because the angles on this match the angles of his hand here. And then the thumb just plugs into it. So you plug it on about halfway, and you can just have him hold it like this. And that's probably safer for, I don't want to snap the thumb off, if you're worried about that, because it is kind of a tight fit. But it is designed to go all the way up and then match the mold of the hand, and then you can wrap his hands around it so he can hold the bug spray. Getting it off is a little, like I said, it's a little scary because it, okay, less scary that time. Earlier, the first couple of times I tried putting this on there, pulling it off was like, oh, please don't break. And it didn't. So, but now it came off very easily, so that is cool. But yeah, he's a chubby little dude. He does the other accessory, and the reason you get the screwdriver with him, aside from just being able to push that button for his head, is he does come with, right now he's got, you can see it's a solid piece here on the back, and he's got some really nicely blue, kind of a tealish blue metallic painted eyes. And if you want to swap that out for light piping, you get the piece to do that. So I'll do that real quick, and then we'll show off the rest of him. And here he is with the light piped eyes in. And there is, it may be a little harder to tell here on the actual video, but it is a nice warm glow to his optics. Like it actually is a very pleasant look to his eyes. And I don't know if you can see those dimming, but it really is kind of cool. The drawback to this is that now instead of having the solid red rear of his head like this one was, because this is just a piece of red plastic with the metallic blue painted on it, you do now have a big blue gap on the back of his head. Up to you if that's worth it for the glowy optics, but it is a really nice effect. It's not a real bright almost too bright collection of light. It does give a soft, warm blue glow to the eyes, which is really cool. When I said we'll show off the rest of them, what I meant was we'll do some size comparisons, not because I've pretty much shown them all off at this point. Now, I don't have an original G1 Cosmos, but just to give you an idea, there he is with the recent Legends Cosmos. So you see he's actually pretty decently hefty. He does have this big back plate on his back, but it's not super offensive from the front. There he is with that Cosmos with some actual MPs. Here he is with Bumblebee. And here he is with Wheeljack. To give you an idea about where he fits with some of the official masterpieces. And since we just did him the other day and he's still sitting out here, here he is with DX9's Power Glide. Yeah, fun little figure. I knew I had a package coming today, but I didn't know, I wasn't entirely sure what company it was going to be from or what figure it was going to be. So when I opened it up and I saw him in there, I'm like, oh, it's Cosmos, and I played with him. and he's fun. He is a fun little figure. There's some really neat transformation joints. Just the transformation itself is not super difficult, with the exception of popping the head up. That's my one real complaint. But I almost feel like that's made up, and I love the little put whatever you want in the UFO beam. But I feel like the difficulty in getting his head to pop up, I think it might be negated by the intuition of putting in these little faction symbol swapping, flipping panels. That's a really nice little touch that they didn't have to do, and works really well because it's almost seamless. You can kind of see the plastic, but there's ridges, you know, molded into the figure anyway. It's not super obvious that, hey, this exists to flip that faction logo area. Really nicely done. So yeah, he's good. He's solid. Like, there's no part of this, like, with the exception of pulling that bug spray off his thumb, like, no part of this feels like, oh, that's going to break, or this is very fragile. Some nice detailing. It's basic. He's chubby. I love his head. Sorry. It's late night and I'm just kind of giddy, but yeah, like I said, head. How's my pinky doing? My pinky has finally returned to normal after that attempt on pushing the button, but it is still a little sore. So it's a shame that it's not easier to make that happen. Although it is, as long as you've got any sort of like a pen or a small screwdriver, a paintbrush, anything that like thin and stiff, you can get in there. Will pop that. Will pop the head up. But God, all right, don't worry. Like, you can comment. I've already thought it. Anyway, but yeah, so some really nice touches here. And a pretty fun little Cosmos, and surprisingly solid. And yeah, we'll find a place for him on the shelf because I do kind of dig him. So there is X-Transbots KLAATU.